I close my bedroom door slowly. The air feels heavy, like it's pressing against my chest. My hands shake as I grab my laptop. The screen lights up, cold and blue. I open a new document and start typing. Title: Financial Self-Defense. The name feels strange but necessary. I list the first step, pretend I know nothing. I can't confront them yet. Not here, not while I'm under their roof. Step 2, freeze my credit reports. TransUnion, Experian, Equifax. I whisper the names like a spell for protection. Step 3, change every password I own. No more shared accounts, no more trust. I think of the years I paid their bills. Electricity, internet, even streaming services. All because Dad said, it's just temporary. Temporary turned into 4 years. 4 years of silence and sacrifice. I open my phone and call Chloe. She answers with a sleepy voice. Char, it's almost 2 in the morning. They're planning something, I whisper. My father and brother want a loan in my name. There's a pause, sharp and awake. They want to use my credit, I continue. Chloe's voice turns hard. Those manipulative bastards. What are you going to do? She asks. I stare at the faded glow-in-the-dark stars on my ceiling. They raised me to be responsible, I say softly. Maybe it's time I use that against them. I hear Chloe's breath through the line. Then protect yourself first, talk later. The call ends, but her words linger. I start searching credit freeze websites. My fingers move fast, fueled by fear. Each confirmation email feels like armor. I think of every time I said yes. Every next time my brother promised and never kept. Every family emergency that drained my savings. The pattern forms clearly now. I was never the daughter. They saw me as the safety net. I scroll through my bank statements. The evidence is there in plain sight. Transfers labeled help, temporary, loan. Money that never returned. I should have seen it sooner. But love makes you blind, and guilt keeps you quiet. The first light of dawn touches the curtains. I add more items to my list. Close old accounts. Alert my employer's HR about potential fraud. Move savings to a new bank. It feels ruthless but freeing. For the first time, I'm planning for myself. Not for them, not for peace, but for survival. I sit back, exhausted but awake. The checklist glows on the screen like a promise. Outside, birds begin to sing. Their world feels simple, untouched by betrayal. Mine is cracked wide open. But in that crack, there's space for something new. Not fear. Not guilt. Just control. And I'm not giving that away again. The train rocks gently as I head back to the city. My reflection in the window looks older, harder. I keep replaying their voices in my head. $65,000. It wasn't just money. It was proof of everything I refused to see. Every memory now feels rewritten. The birthdays, the holidays, the endless dinners. They all carried a hidden price tag. I remember when Kong crashed Dad's car at 16. Dad laughed and said, "Boys will be boys." When I came home 10 minutes late, I was grounded for 2 weeks. Fairness never lived in our house. I learned early that being good meant being useful. And being useful meant paying the price. At 17, I begged to join a school trip to DC. Mom said, "We can't afford that right now." So I worked 3 jobs, saved every cent, and went anyway. Dad said, "You're so independent." I thought it was a compliment. Now I know it was relief. Relief that I didn't ask for help. When college came, they sat me down. "We've been saving for your brother's tuition," Dad said. "You'll figure something out, you're smart." And I did. Scholarships, loans, instant noodles, long nights. Kong got a new car after his first semester. Mom said, "He needs motivation." I got secondhand furniture and silence. That silence still hums in my chest. It's the sound of being unseen. Years later, when I landed my first real job, they were proud. But pride quickly turned into expectation. Your brother just needs a little help, Mom said. He's trying to start something. Something turned into nothing. Nothing turned into debt. And debt turned into my problem. I scroll through old photos on my phone. Every smile feels rehearsed. Every family picture is a stage set. They saw me as the reliable one, the one who always says yes. But every yes cut a piece of me away. By the time I realized, I was hollowed out. I remember my uncle's words at Christmas. They'll drain you dry if you let them. I laughed then, thinking he was bitter. Now I understand he was warning me. The city skyline appears in the distance. My heart feels both heavy and light. Heavy with what I lost. Light with what I finally see. I pull out my notebook and write one sentence. Helping is not the same as saving. The train slows as we reach Chicago. The world outside keeps moving, indifferent. But inside, something has shifted. I can't unhear their voices. I can't unknow what I know. The roles we played all my life are gone. Good daughter, responsible sister, silent provider. They burned away that night. And what's left is someone new. Someone who knows her worth. Someone who finally understands that love without respect is just control. And I will never mistake the two again. The call connects on a Sunday afternoon. My heart beats fast, steady but sharp. Dad's face fills the screen first, calm and practiced. Mom smiles too wide, her eyes too bright. Kong sits in the corner, pretending not to care. There's our girl, Dad says. I nod, my throat dry. I heard everything, I say quietly. The silence that follows is heavy. Dad blinks, still smiling. What do you mean, sweetheart? Your conversation, I answer. In your office, about the loan, about my credit. Kong shifts in his chair, jaw tight. Dad clears his throat. You misunderstood, honey. It's a family investment. My voice doesn't shake. No, it's theft. $65,000 worth. Mom's hand flies to her chest. Family helps family, Min Ann. You know that. I breathe in slowly. Yes, and family shouldn't steal. The words land like stones. Kong leans forward, red-faced. You've always been selfish, he spits. All that money, all that success while we struggle. My chest tightens, but I don't flinch. The kind of struggle you chose, I reply. Crypto bets, Vegas weekends, designer clothes. Mom's eyes fill with tears. You don't mean that. I do, I say. I found your notes, Dad. You circled the due date. You wrote my name beside it. His expression changes, shock, then anger. After all we've done for you, he growls. I let out a short, bitter laugh. What exactly have you done for me? He opens his mouth, but I keep going. 3 jobs in college, student loans I paid alone, rent you never helped with. Kong slams his hand on the table. You think you're better than us? No, I say softly. I just stopped letting you use me. Dad's voice rises. Watch your tone. Young lady. I lean closer to the camera. Watch your actions, Dad. Mom sobs into her hands. I wish I could comfort her, but sympathy feels like a trap. I'm freezing my credit, I tell them. I'm removing my name from your bills. You have 2 weeks to switch payments. Dad's jaw drops. You wouldn't leave us without power. 2 weeks is generous, I answer. It's more than you gave me when you planned to ruin my credit. Kong stands up and storms off. Mom whispers through tears, You're breaking this family. No, I say quietly. You broke it when you decided money meant more than trust. Dad leans in, voice low. We're your family. You can't just walk away. I meet his gaze through the screen. I'm not walking away. I'm standing up. For a long moment, no one speaks. Then Dad slams the call shut. The screen goes black. My hands tremble, but I don't cry. The quiet feels different now. It isn't fear anymore. It's freedom disguised as silence. For the first time, I know I'm not their safety net. I'm my own foundation now. The storm began the next morning. My phone buzzed before sunrise. 20 messages, all from Kong. First came the begging. Just this once, please, we'll pay you back. Then came the guilt. Mom can't sleep, Dad's sick with worry. And finally, the threats. You'll regret this, you owe us. I muted the chat. By noon, Mom's Facebook post appeared. Some children forget who raised them. The comments flooded in like poison. Old neighbors, church friends, strangers. They all praised her strength. No one knew the truth. At work, my manager called me in. Your father phoned, he said awkwardly. Said you're under stress and need leave. Heat rushed to my face. Their reach was everywhere. They weren't trying to talk, they were trying to destroy. That evening, my cousin Lan texted. Your aunt is flying to Chicago. They said you're unstable. I laughed without humor. The manipulation was now public theater. I made coffee and opened a new folder on my laptop. Title, documentation. Every message, every voicemail, every post. I saved and timestamped them all. Control, I reminded myself, starts with evidence. I blocked their numbers, but left email open. Once a day at 5 p.m., I checked it with Trang beside me. She called it my firewall. I called it survival. The following week, I met with my financial advisor. She reviewed my accounts carefully. They can't touch your assets, she assured. But keep your passwords private, every one. I nodded, already a step ahead. Next came therapy. A quiet office, soft lights, and a woman named Dr. Nguyen. She listened as I poured out everything. The guilt, the anger, the disbelief. This is financial abuse, she said gently. I froze at the words. Abuse. It sounded heavy, too dark for my tidy life. But she was right. Every guilt trip, every you owe us, every fake emergency. It was all a form of control. She warned me the backlash would worsen. When you take back power, she said, they'll fight to keep it. She was right again. A week later, I found out they called my landlord. Told him I was emotionally unstable. I stood in his office, showing him my proof. He nodded, sympathetic, and blocked their number. The cracks in their performance began to show. Kong took a part-time job at a gas station. Mom canceled her anniversary trip. Even Dad's tone on Facebook grew quiet. Still, the guilt lingered like smoke. Each night, I replayed their words in my head. You're breaking this family. But I knew better now. I wasn't breaking anything. I was refusing to be broken. The noise of their chaos faded bit by bit. And beneath it, I found something pure. Not peace, not yet. But strength. The kind that grows in silence after the shouting stops. The knock came late on a Friday night. My doorman's voice buzzed through the speaker. Your brother is here, says it's an emergency. My stomach twisted. Tell him I'm unavailable, I said quietly. Minutes later, pounding echoed through the door. You can't hide forever, Kong shouted. His voice slurred, thick with alcohol. One loan, that's all we needed. I called building security. When they arrived, he cursed and struggled. They let him out, his words dissolving into drunken rage. I sat on the floor, shaking but steady. The next morning, an email arrived from Dad. Subject line, legal action for family support. Attached was a letter threatening to sue me. The grammar was messy, the signature fake. It was intimidation disguised as paperwork. A voicemail followed soon after. Mom crying, saying the electricity was cut off. It's freezing, baby. You did this. I closed my eyes, breathing slowly. Their desperation had turned theatrical. Every guilt trick recycled, every line rehearsed. but I wasn't their audience anymore. That afternoon, I met my lawyer, Lynn. She flipped through the printed messages and voicemails. "They've crossed a boundary," she said. "It's time for a cease and desist." I nodded. "I want to include everything," I told her. "The recording, too." Her eyebrows lifted. "That's nuclear." "So is what they've done," I replied. She leaned back, considering. "Then let's make it count." 2 days later, the package was sent. Certified, signature required. Inside were screenshots, timestamps, and the recording of that night. The sound of Dad's voice saying, "She'll cover it all." The fallout was instant. Dad called within hours, roaring through the phone. "How dare you betray us like this?" I stayed calm. "You taught me responsibility," I said. "I'm just applying it." Mom called next, her fury raw and trembling. "Why should you have more than your brother?" Her words hit harder than the threats. Because there it was, the truth behind everything. Not love. Not fairness. Just resentment. I didn't answer right away. When I did, my voice was steady. "I worked for what I have, Mom. I earned it." Silence followed, sharp and final. The next day, my uncle called. "It's chaos back here," he said. "Your dad looked like he'd seen a ghost." He paused, almost proud. They heard themselves on that tape. Rumors spread fast. Cousins whispering, neighbors pretending to be shocked. But sympathy began shifting toward me. Kong's credit collapsed. Dad withdrew from his retirement account. Mom stopped posting online. The storm they created finally turned on them. And for the first time, I wasn't drowning in it. I was standing on the shore, dry and unshaken. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Kong. "You were right, I'm sorry." I didn't reply. Some apologies are only real when followed by change. And I had finally learned to stop paying for other people's lessons. 8 months passed like a lifetime. The mountains outside my new apartment glowed gold at sunrise. Denver felt distant and safe, a world away from the chaos I left. I sold my Chicago condo last month. The profit sat untouched in my account. For once, I didn't have to share. It felt strange and powerful. My mornings were quiet now. Coffee, sunlight, peace. No guilt in the air. No phone buzzing with family drama. Just my own heartbeat and the sound of birds. Sometimes I still check my credit report. Old habits die slow. But the fear that used to choke me is gone. I joined a local support group for survivors of financial abuse. People like me, polite, exhausted, learning boundaries again. On Tuesdays, I volunteer at the community center. I teach a small class called Money and Boundaries. Most of my students are older. Their eyes carry the same worry mine once did. I tell them I'm not an advisor, just someone who learned the hard way. They listen. They take notes. And slowly, they begin to smile. Last week, a young woman asked, "If my parents owe money, do I have to pay?" Her voice trembled, like she already knew the answer. "No," I said firmly. "Debt belongs to the name on the paper, not the blood in your veins." She exhaled, shoulders dropping, and whispered, "Thank you." After class, she handed me a folded note. Inside, her handwriting was shaky but brave. I froze my credit. I said no. It was hard, but it feels right. I kept the note in my wallet. A reminder that healing is contagious. Sometimes it begins with one person choosing freedom. Kong emailed me a few weeks later. His words were short, sober, and honest. "I'm in therapy, working 2 jobs, trying to make things right." I read it twice before replying. "Thank you. I need time. Boundaries stay." No anger left, just space. Maybe one day we'll meet again. But it will be as equals, not predator and prey. My therapist, Dr. Nguyen, says progress comes in quiet waves. "You're rebuilding trust," she told me last session. "Not in them, in yourself. She was right. I trust myself now. My judgment, my instincts, my worth. That's something they can never touch again. Tonight, I sit on my balcony with tea in hand. The city lights flicker below like distant stars. For the first time, the future doesn't scare me. It feels open, wide, and mine. I think about all the versions of me that said yes. All the nights I cried for their approval. And I whisper softly into the mountain air. Never again. Protecting my money was just the beginning. What I truly saved was my soul. The sky blushes pink over the mountains. The air smells of pine and new beginnings. I open my window and let the wind in. It carries peace instead of memories. My phone vibrates once, then stops. No panic follows, only calm. The past finally feels distant, like another life. I glance at the note from my student. I said no, and I'm proud. It makes me smile every time. Maybe this is what healing looks like. Not perfection, just quiet confidence. I used to believe family meant sacrifice. Now I know it means respect. The difference took years to learn. But I learned it completely. I sip my tea, watching the last light fade. For the first time, I don't feel guilty for choosing myself. Freedom doesn't roar. It whispers. It sits beside you in silence and stays. And in that silence, I hear the truth clearly. Protecting your wallet is only the start. Protecting your heart is the victory. I close my eyes, breathing steady. Finally, it's over. Finally, I'm free.